peer group or the social network, as I said, I'll probably refer to, may be actually a bigger motivation in seeking care and in purchasing products and in communicating than conventional means. So I said I want us to really study what changes people are getting, because I believed at that time that through my writing The 12 Stages of Healing, that spiritual changes were really improved health factor. You know, if someone starts beating his wife, if someone becomes more compassionate to somebody, if someone's able to really care about other people and make difference, that should be considered health care. I was asked to speak at the opening Angelicum Center in Milan. It was a cultural center that got kind of destroyed in the world wars and was rebuilt a few years ago by Padre Ligio through his people in his actually rehab communities. And at the opening of this cultural center, which is being used as an educational center also, peace conferences, etc., academic conferences, I was asked to speak about the future of healthcare. And at that I said, you know, people used to believe that evil spirits invaded the body. Then they started doing incantations, destroy it, or give very toxic substance to the body. So just before the person died, the evil spirit would leave. Or they would take the blood out, because if you took enough blood out, the spirits would leave. And then based upon some of those models, modern medical procedures still follow that same cultural model, but with more a more updated thing of when someone's really sick, give them something that's really toxic to the body, and maybe that'll help more. Well, what I said was, with all the years of healthcare, with all the way, actually disease care, with all the things people are doing to treat disease and diagnose disease, if the ultimate goal is to make disease go away and symptoms go away so a person can restore to life like it was before, then we're really messed up and screwed as a species. There's no change, because humanity has not improved its quality of human relationships. People still are not getting along. We could go to other planets, but what do we have that's worthwhile saying? If a person were to go back to the time of Christ, what could you, it just went by yourself, what could you tell how we progressed in thousands of years, and how positive adaptive survival values and living with one another, with people, growing crops and helping people? So ultimately I said the real outcomes of healthcare needs to be a person living a life that makes a difference, that helps other people, that they're happier, that they're able to be more joyous, they make constructive choices, they're in tune with themselves, their culture, the world, and they can make differences. I believe that's the basis. And if we looked at that, we'd be failing terribly. With this, we said, let's do a study and figure out what's really going on, and how can we help develop an instrument that takes people through the type of changes we see in network care, identify the changes, see when they gain their changes. I want to find out what predicted what change. How does this compare to other healthy type practices? How does healthy lifestyles impact upon it? And ultimately, how can we develop a self-reported questionnaire where the patient ultimately is the guide? Because I was looking at some data at the time, and I believe to further research would demonstrate that ultimately the patient's the only one who knows if they're well. An article in Journal of American Medical Association that was published January 1995, around the same time we were doing the research, said there's two models in healthcare, biomedical and social science, and that ultimately true health and sustainability and life enjoyment and autonomy really must involve also the social science model. So they said someone who is able to eventually merge the biomedical and social science models would have the future of healthcare. So with this, a retrospective assessment came out where the patient's self-assessment would help. And in this Wilson Cleary article, what inspired me also in that article, it said that the doctor knows what disease a person has, but only the patient knows if they're well. That's really important. The patient's an expert on his or her health and well-being. And research further shows there's very little relationship to a person's disease and how well they're doing. They can have significant disease and really be living a wonderful life and never know it. And they can have no disease and be living a miserable life. treatment of disease is not directly related to a person's health and well-being, especially when talk the social science model. So what the researchers came about was different aspects of measurements, domains of health, self-reported, physical, headaches, neck aches, backaches, colds, flus, the menstrual cramps, that type of stuff. The mental state, are you depressed? Are you worried about big things? Do you worry about small things? Your anxiety levels, the mental emotional state. The third level was stress. Stress about work, stress about relationships, stress about money, stress about being sick, stress about being stressed. All the factors about stress. And the last one, I was kind of enjoyed because I was suggesting reading the Palmer's books, The Development of Chiropractic, and when you really look at what would happen if a person really lived where their innate organizing wisdom was able to actually communicate, including to their thinking mind, what would life be like? And I said they'd be able to listen to their inner guidance or their intuitive guidance. They would be able to enjoy life more. Life would be more what they'd like it to be. They would enjoy life regardless of the circumstance. They would be more compassionate. They would get along better with their coworkers. They said actually those type of things is really the target. People may treat the disease, but hopefully they want to get to this target, which is really outside of current healthcare, but impacts upon healthcare. And I wanted to call it spiritual factors, and our researchers said we probably won't get published if we do that. So they said, what's the epitome of spirituality? I said, well, I laughed, just enjoying life regardless of the circumstance. So we called it the life enjoyment category. We then wanted to see how this wellness index, which is a characteristic of all the 4 domains and their overall quality of life, that wellness index, how does it relate to receiving network care, and how does it also relate to people living a healthier lifestyle, and how does network care impact healthier lifestyle? Great questions. Well, the first thing we found is, in predicting it, is that what predicted the greatest changes? First of all, the longer a person was in care, the greater change. That's really big. And after 3 years, there was no ceiling. So for people who say, oh, chiropractic 6 to 8 visits, well, I guess if the care is to try to restore them or reduce a certain pain, that may be a factor. But if they're looking to help the person reorganize to a higher level of living their life through a higher level spinal neural integrity and functioning and greater coherency, then it's a whole different story. Also, people became aware of their breath and aware of the network wave. Those are the 3 factors that really predicted it. So, taking duration of care out, the next 2 factors, awareness of breath and the wave. When a person was aware of their breath wave first, those people had the greatest changes. If they were aware of the breath first and then aware of the network wave. If they're aware of the network wave before the breath, their quality of life was not that great. Did not improve that much. If they had the network wave and was not aware of it, there was no improvement, or very little improvement. This led me to realize that self-awareness appears to be the key, and I said, why? And I realized that as soon as the stress hormones hit the frontal lobe of the cortex, then the person goes into defense and you can't use your higher cortical functions, or what I call the upper mental energetic intelligence or higher, and you're back into your defense strategies and you're living more of a routine mind, which is really the mind conditioned as a child, and you're in a stress defensive physiology, and you really aren't able to make constructive choice. So we added the concept of awareness not only by suggesting people have SRI addition to the network care. What we also suggested that indeed that awareness be a keystone to each of these levels of